Mercury, the messenger, is about to do something really beautifully rare and intense. He's going to form a double kite as he moves through the sign of Scorpio. He'll be in Scorpio between October the 13th to November the 1st. And this is a sign of stealth, of secrets, but it's also a sign that belongs to the planet Mars and indicates things that are Martian in nature, and including matters to do with world events called war. Yet aside in each of our lives, the double kite that comes up at the end of October, courtesy of Mars, involving rare outer planet configurations of Neptune and Pluto and Uranus, is going to be a really important story. I cannot wait to tell you about it and what it means for your sign. We're going to cover your rising sign as the character you play in life, the sun, your solar essence to do with your individual, like, deep soul, core, essential nature and self. It's not your ego, guys. In the ancient tradition, it's the animating, it's the soul of you, right? And then, of course, the moon, which represents your more like the life force that animates the body. And you could call it also home and things to do with mother and mother figures. Sun can be father figures too. But also, we talk world events here. I do not advise hanging in for the first 15, 20 minutes. If you don't like world event astrology, it's called mundane, but you can jump ahead to your own sign by clicking the title of the video, which gives you your chapters, and or going to my pinned comments where I always pin each of the timestamps for the signs. Just jump ahead, listen for sun, moon, and rising. Finally, guess what? I am Lori Lothian, using the Western Tropical Zodiac, whole sign houses, fixed stars, minor asteroids, and we will talk minor asteroids today. We have Hubris, the asteroid that shows us where we have an overinflated sense of our abilities and our power, and we can have a fall from that power because of our pride, arrogance, and hubris. So she's involved with Mercury in the end of the month, and we're also going to make a story here about Diana and Elatus conjunct the sun. And we have one more asteroid hanging out with Mercury, and I've got to remember who it is because I'm talking, yes, of course it is. Not only is it Hubris with Mercury, but Ceto. This is the ocean goddess who personifies the dangers of the sea, including the sea monsters we find under the ocean. What I think about this is probably not literal. When Venus, for instance, was traveling with the asteroid for typhoons, we had the hurricanes hit the United States. But the sea monsters are things that are hidden below the surface. And Scorpio is just that. It's three-letter agencies, alphabet agencies, right? It's secrets. It's like the underbelly of what needs to be investigated, uncovered, researched. Those are archetypes of Scorpio. A lot of police detectives have strong Scorpio placements, as well as a lot of people in the intelligence field of work, the spies of the world. So we're going to talk about this story. We're going to get into it today. I think this is going to be a 75-minute video, not one of my longest, but I hope you enjoy this. And the only thing I'm sharing, 2025 videos up to 2 hours long for each separate sign are not going to be released on YouTube. And rather, they come to you as a fundraiser for my channel to help me buy equipment and hire some staff and help get myself assistance when I need them. Assistance when I need them for helping me with timestamps and stuff like that. Want to help the channel grow? Get your 2025 All Signs bundle. That's 12 videos, each one 2 hours, 24 hours of video content. Share with friends and family. Listen for sun, moon, and rising, or in the description box, just pre-purchase your individual sign. This is the pre-sale. These get delivered to your inbox November the 17th. These do not go on YouTube, and you will never see the pre-sale price again. Let's get rolling and let's talk astrology. Now, a lot of you know that I am a lover of the mundane and world astrology, and that's never going to leave my channel because otherwise I feel like I'm doing nothing. I need to do something of meaning, and although individual signs is useful and meaningful for you, I've got my pajama top on here. It is literally not the best thing for my soul. So if you don't like mundane astrology, go away. Second of all, or just jump ahead. I put my election panel video out. I had a couple of astrologers with great techniques to show why they declared the winner of the election would be Kamala Harris, plus a very well-known Lenormand tarot reader who's been very accurate about most of her predictions involving these sorts of things. And I also chimed in the beginning of the video with my insights and what I said is likely to happen. And I did indeed go for the Kamala Harris based on astrological techniques called solar arc directions. Go watch that video if you want to know why astrologers are saying what they are saying. And remember, the comments in the live premiere and in the description box were so vitriolic. Please remember, civil debate. These are astrology tools declaring the likely winner of the United States election. I'm sure we could be wrong. But I have been right in declaring Trump the winner when he won, Trump the loser when he lost. So I've got a 2 for 2. Let's see if I get a 3 for 3. And, what can you do? It's just the astrology. It's not my politics. I don't prefer either. And I am Canadian and I haven't voted in my own country ever, or yours, or the United States. So please be civil, because I may mention a little bit about Joe Biden today, because Joe Biden is a Scorpio sun at 27 degrees or so of Scorpio. And this is where Mercury is going to travel when all of this big double kite stuff happens in the last week of October. So we'll mention some politics. Okay, I'm not pro, anti, I'm just describing astrology. We'll also mention Vladimir Putin, because he has his ascendant in Scorpio with Venus, and this is going to be big events with Mercury going through Scorpio. Very well may impact Vladimir Putin. Shall we go ahead and do that with civil discourse in the comments? People have a right to be offended by everything these days. Taking offense is a new motto of reality. I don't take offense at what you've just said. Oh, Lord Almighty. Okay, here we have it. This is the sky, and I'm going to show you the story as we watch Mercury travel so you can see it. And after you see this, right, then we'll go into your sign. I'll talk a very short 10 minutes about politics. I don't think it's going to be much longer. Now, Mercury is going to do more than just make a double trine. A double trine and a double kite at the end of the month. And kites are success aspects, and that's why I'm excited to share this with you. He's also going to do a couple of nifty little tricks along the way. So let me share what he's doing. I'll cover this for your sign when I get there. Don't forget, if you're new to my channel, please like and subscribe. Give me a try. If you're a regular, check that you're still subscribed. I had a big subscribers dump in September, and maybe 4,000 subscribers were dumped by YouTube in a bot scrub, but you guys aren't bots because you keep telling me you were dumped. So come back and resubscribe. In the meantime, also, if you like and subscribe, it does make the algorithm happy. Now, here's Mercury at 0 degrees of the sign of Scorpio. He enters there on October the 13th, happens to be in my time zone Sunday the 13th in Pacific Daily Time. As he's moving forward here, he's going to be traveling with a cadre of asteroids. Behind him is Diana, the huntress. In front of him is Elatus, and I'll explain what this means for the end of the year. But Diana, the huntress, has got bows and arrows, and she shoots things with them. Yes, that's what she does. And she has 2 hunting dogs. You might notice that the huntress, Diana, is hanging out with Libra territory as we approach October 13th. That is the territory of the nation of Ai in the Middle East ascendant. Yes, they're shooting bows and arrows at people, so it doesn't surprise me that she's there. We see Mercury at 13 degrees of Scorpio, and this is the asteroid that looks like a bow and arrow as well, and it is called Elatus, and it's a story of the centaur who had an arrow shot by a Hercules go through his shoulder, and instead of hitting him and killing him, the arrow hit Chiron, the healer, who forever had the wound in his foot. He was collateral friendly fire damage, Chiron, the wounded healer, by the arrow that was aiming for Elatus. Now, the story of Elatus could be a story about somebody who was very strong, because he was known as a centaur who could pull fir trees out from the earth. So we could say a strong man, but we also can say a man who has dodged a bullet more than once. Yes, I know Trump dodged a bullet, but he is a Leo rising. Right. So the Scorpio placement for him as a Leo rising is the 4th house. It may not be a Trump story. It may be a Vladimir Putin story baking into this month ahead. Again, Mercury traveling with Elatus October 13th to November 1st. Putin has been the subject of multiple attempts on his life. So there's nothing new there. I mean, we all know that. So somebody who could be dodging bullets or, have a near-death encounter with a flying arrow, so to speak, is a story of Mercury that may emerge during the month of this travel, October 13th to November 1st. Mercury is moving very quickly, right? He's speeding along. He's moving almost like at 2 weeks right now through the sign of Scorpio. For him, that is a fast speed. Sometimes he's up to 3 weeks, or if he's retrograde, up to a couple of months in a sign. So he's really quickly skirting through the Scorpio waters in the United States Sibley natal chart. That part of the sky, Scorpio, represents backroom deals, negotiations, secrets, and things hidden from the public eye. Keep that in mind. Mercury is also traveling as he goes through this month, and we'll talk about the kites, double kites at the end. He's traveling with this asteroid, Hubris. I already explained Hubris. You have an inflated sense of one's abilities. You might feel like, hubris can be like, the thing that comes before the fall, one's hubris. It is the Greek goddess of insolence, transgression against the gods by claiming to be better than a god in any particular ability. So like godlike megalomania, all right? Conditioned limitations, what you see as your own fate, or unrealistic and exaggerated self-image or faith in one's abilities. Now, you can go, which world leaders have this hubris that you can visibly see in the world? Maybe that would be a clue as to what or whom this is about. But it could be a very prideful world leader who's going to take a fall. It happens to be the sun, Scorpio, the same place of Joe Biden's own natal sun. It was Joe Biden's sun around 27 Scorpio, which is where we're going to have the double kite. It was his sun that was impacted by the Uranus Algol conjunction in July. It is his moon, by the way. It's squared by Pluto, and solar arc Pluto opposition and transiting Pluto square. All of these factors led to an obvious clue that he would have to step down before the election. But this is something else going on here. So we're going to talk more about him in the story as we go through the political story. On October the 17th, until October the 17th, Venus is co-traveling with Mercury. Venus does rule women. It's just that simple, egg bearers and stuff. So women who have pride or hubris, who could have a maybe fall from power, and the sea monsters are here with monsters underneath the surface with the asteroid Ceto right up here. That would not likely be any woman that we're looking at directly right now. I wouldn't call this like a Kamala Harris story, honestly. She has a Libra sun. She has a Gemini rising, and it's really not those stories at all. But there may be a woman in the news cycle, right? There may be a woman in the news cycle between October the 13th and October the 17th, in which some level of pride can lead to some level of recompense fall, or realistic things showing up for that notable female in a news cycle anywhere in the world. Scorpio, could be somebody involved in intelligence communities, or somebody involved in, I don't know, secrets being spilled. So keep it in mind. October the 20th, like a dark scorpionic female would be the Epstein story. What was her name? The French woman that was the sidekick for Jeffrey Epstein. She's a typical dark side of Scorpio story, right? Enabling him to lure young women into his clutches, kind of thing. So she did pay for that. And she has been, I think she's in jail. Moving forward, October 20th to the 22nd. So watch what Mercury is going to do so I can show you, right? We're jumping ahead. Other than him co-present until October 17th, the next big event for Mercury is going to be around the 20th, which is going to be a Sunday yet again. He'll be traveling around 11 degrees of Scorpio on Sunday, the 20th of October, and he'll begin to have a conversation with Saturn. And this is called a trine, and it's positive for the most part. Mercury is trining Saturn in a place of water and shorelines. So water events, shoreline events, we still have the sea monsters up here with Ceto. And so where is there some kind of story in the cycle of our news that's uncovering stuff that we've been hidden from view from the depths of the sea monstery ocean connected to Saturn in Pisces, water environment, seashores, displaced people, homeless people, etc. A classic story of Mercury Saturn playing out October the 20th to the 22nd would have been things like that pipeline explosion, the gas pipeline that Apparently, everyone's trying to figure out who really did it. I think they finally came up with the answer, but blaming Russia on blowing up its own pipeline was absolutely idiotic. So discoveries of things that have to do with water and challenges with water that could literally be uncovered or revealed. So mismanagement of hurricanes or darker stories about situations about global conflict involving water environments, Taiwan, China, Mediterranean, Red Sea, Houthi, the whole thing. You know, those stories. We don't know. I'm recording on October the 10th. I don't know what October 20th to 22nd looks like. Honestly, it's going to be a bit of a bit of a S show between now and then. And even things like an asteroid splashing into the ocean would not surprise me, honestly, or a satellite sky and hitting the ocean. Weird stuff like that with this Mercury story. Mercury wants the news stories to be very watery, but it is a trine, so it could be revealing something. And he's not too far away from the arrow that almost hit Elatus, the centaur, and instead hit Chiron. So missing a bullet, dodging a bullet when it comes to water, that's submarines, right? Submarines and water weapons. So what water weapons things come to a head, maybe work out okay after all. October 20th to the 22nd. The Cuban Missile Crisis and the Bay of Pigs stuff would be very much a Mercury, Saturn, Pisces, Scorpio type of event. And we may see some kind of similar thing happen in one of the watery war places of the world, particularly the Middle East or Taiwan, China. Now we move forward a bit and we see the next iteration. Mercury is continuing forward in his fast blast through the sign of Scorpio. And as he blasts to the end of the sign, you're going to notice the first thing he starts to do is heat up a conversation with Uranus. And this is not any conversation. This is very, very different. Why? Because this is Uranus on fixed star Algol retrograde. Uranus will really come to contact with Algol around the 13th to the 18th, 19th of October, where he's really in the thick of the star itself. But it was Uranus on Algol direct on July 15th with Mars conjunct that led to things like the assassination attempt on Trump. So with this star being highly activated again by now a retrograde Uranus, and with Mercury, the news god, pivoted right across the way, we're going to notice that October the 30th is a thing. It is something to really pay attention to. What Mercury might want to do here, right, is bring to our news cycle attention something shocking and surprising about markets, stock markets, currencies, things. This is Uranus, Bitcoin taking a nosedive, shocking banking scandals, shocking Wall Street downdrafts. I mean, just some ideas. Mercury is opposing Uranus in a sign of the bull that applies to markets, stock markets, currencies, trading, sometimes to land and agriculture as well. The other thing I could say about this is that whatever happened with Donald Trump back in the day, you know, when a bullet whizzed by his ear, there may be new stealthy revelations from investigations, Scorpio, about what actually transpired and what motivated this person or persons to take aim. So it could be big revelations in our news cycle for sure. Moving into the next part of the story, Mercury continues to go forward. And as he does, he's still in contact with Uranus, okay, when I move to November 1st. But you'll notice, and by November 2nd, he's in Sag, but you'll notice that there are two kites forming in our sky. I'm going to have to draw them because the software doesn't like to do a kite for whatever reason on a retrograde planet. So, oops, I wasn't even in my big size screen for you. I apologize, Meek. But over here, we're going to see two kites. So watch me. And these are, you're not going to get this again, right? We have to have Pluto and Capricorn, and Pluto's getting his tail out of there. So, you know, this kind of kite we're looking at here won't particularly be here again, a Pluto Capricorn version. You'd have to live 250 more years, guys, for Pluto to form the tip of a kite like this. So I don't think the world will live that long either these days. I think we kind of beam me up, Scotty, and get us off the darn planet. Annotation, right? Kite number one, watch this kite, right? That's a kite right there. Can you see it, guys? We're talking about a kite forming between around the 27th, even 28th of October to November 1st, with the apex of the kite being Pluto in Capricorn direct after October 11th and in direct motion in the last gasp reward of a 16-year stay in Capricorn, leaving on November the 19th. And of course, you know that November 1st, this is set for November 1st, is us heading into the United States election. You can see that the kite is anchored this way by Mars in the sign of its fall at the anaretic degree, which is very, very turbulent. And we have a baked in Mars-Pluto opposition in the kite. And even though the kite lends itself to breaking the tension between Mars and Pluto so it can lift off with support from Neptune retrograde to defog the confusion, illusion, misunderstanding, the spin cycles, the misinformation, the attempts to Orwellian mind call us all, Mercury's retrograde. Retrograde Neptune is like the tide pulls back and we see what was underneath the shoreline, what was hidden from view. So that's interesting because Scorpio is the same idea. Mercury's got some revelations to deliver to the world. Now, what is this idea of Mercury sitting with the energy of the sea monster Ceto, which goes for gorgons and hydras and scary things under the sea or under the surface of the stealthy Mars Scorpio waters. This is a Mars territory. Mars has something to say about it. He's in his fall, but he watches what Mercury does in his kingdom and tries to support Mercury, even from a place where Mars is in a deeply debilitated state. He's emotional, flies off the handle, protects home and family at no cost, including berserker actions that make no sense sometimes. Now, as well, we'll notice this other factor. And don't forget the other asteroid, Hubris. Where is there an overinflated sense of one's abilities in Scorpio? So Putin is a Scorpio rising. Biden has a Scorpio sun right here at 27 degrees and bundled up in this difficult, in a positive kite, but involving a Mars-Pluto opposition. And this Mars-Pluto opposition is also talking to Juno. And Juno is the goddess of peace treaties. She's a goddess of agreements, vows, and alliances that we commit to, including marital and peace treaties. And because the scales of Libra are about balance and harmony and can represent treaties around peace. We're coming to a critical, massive turning point regarding the themes of peace and peace treaties. And it's looking pretty gnarly already around November the 1st. And it builds up the 27th of October, I'd say, to like November the 3rd. Finally, what's the other kite story? Let me delineate the other kite. Let me clear this annotations because otherwise it's just me drawing everywhere. Where's the double kite? Here it is. Look, there we go. This is Mercury holding the base of the kite, not the crossbar with hubris. He's got his hand on the bottom of a kite, just like you would pick it up off the ground, and he's going to do something with this kite. And the tip of it is a shocking Uranus Algol surprising energy that lifts up. Again, Algol is the son of the United States New York Stock Exchange. So there's something about the US Stock Exchange coming into a critical time as well. This is not directly involving the Mars and Pluto opposition. Instead, the backbone of the kite is the energetics of things between Mercury and Taurus. And in the United States chart, for example, Scorpio can be the things that are being done outside the view of the public, and banking and commerce and stock markets is Uranus. So there's something going on there. And then we have this kite. Oh, I can't draw today. You know what I mean, right, guys? I'm drawing with a mouse. You don't get the vibe, right? What a mess. What a mess. Kite. Well, holding the crossbar of the kite in a friendly way is Mars in his fall, and in a friendly way is Neptune in his retrogradation. Neptune is supporting the kite and Mars is supporting the kite. Neptune Mars in a trine is spiritual warrior or alchemist or fighter for, especially with Neptune retrograde, fighter for things that are spiritually uplifting, but also the dark side of Neptune, right? The illusion, the delusion, the misinformation, the ways, the spin cycle of legacy media, perhaps, or information like Wall Street Journal, is a pipeline for one of the major alphabet agencies in the United States, just dispensing the news through the Wall Street Journal, those kinds of things. Everyone knows this, right? And New York Times as well. So bottom line is what information has been dispensed that we have to pull back the tide on, see what's underneath it. And Mars is a champion for it. And it may shock and surprise us. And it has to do with all things Taurus, land. Joe Biden's moon is in Taurus, things to do with real estate, things to do with maybe matters of Wall Street. Certainly the bull is Wall Street, and Mercury is also Wall Street. So maybe big Wall Street turnaround stories and big cycles coming up. Fundamentally, all kites do have a grand trine embedded, and that makes them, as at the very heart of the deal, a very positive and good energy, but it doesn't mean it's not without some chaos. So this is a water trine that forms the archetypal root of a kite. And when we look at the Pluto top of the trine here, we still have the same water trine. So water trines are about what is intuitive and flowing in each of our lives. Water trines are about what is under the surface of water, whether it's your Pisces ocean, your Scorpio, deep swamp, or your Cancer pond in your backyard where you have a little fishy pond, a koi pond, whichever water that you have going on in the sky. The water, when Mercury's involved, he wants to be the one who investigates, who intellectually observes, who creates news to see what's under the surface of the watery stories of the grand trine. So in our own lives, just a water trine brings some positive developments, even with Mars in Cancer in the sign of his fall. Even with that as well, we still get something good trying to happen. Now, I'm going to do your sign. The only other thing I want to say about world events before we go on, one last thought I have, and I'll show you why, and we'll move into your sign. I told you it was going to be almost a short one on the old world event stories. Oh, well, it doesn't look like it's sharing it. I see the chart. You guys don't. There we go. All right, here we are. Now, let's get that out of the way. JD Vance and Donald Trump are both Leo risings, right? And it's always about comparison, right? If Trump makes it through this and isn't in a hospital for some reason, based on other videos I've done, I'd be surprised. But by comparison, right, Vance and Trump are having the weaker charts compared to Kamala Harris. But Kamala Harris, with all of this intensity in our sky, where is she most impacted? What could be a sign that she could bump into some kind, if any kind, of difficulty, and if anything could destabilize her from these trines? Well, the thing is, I don't see it, well, these kites, but destabilize position, because you see, she has her ascendant here close to Jupiter. Now, I told you guys already, and I'll say it for the 100th time, she has a 24-degree and north node kind of thing going on in her ascendant. And Jupiter refrains from touching base with that because of a retrograde that started October 9th. And Trump has a 22-degree sun and north node energy, and Jupiter refrains from touching those placements before turning retrograde. A lack of clarity on coronation is what I was questioning, because Jupiter doesn't actually make a partile conjunction, unlike someone in my comments who I tried to correct. Yes, but it's called refrainment. It's not exact. Close, kissing cousins up close, and then Jupiter says, I changed my mind, I'm going backwards. Why? So one of the things about this story is that maybe there's a kerfuffle, a really big problem close to the election, which delays the results, or hopefully not the election itself, like a cyber attack, like a storm that takes out a whole state's voting apparatus, like Trump not being on the ballot, and how would that look? Because he's not capable, because he's again in harm's way. And so what happens when you don't have the candidate alive or well enough to be actually voted for, etc.? Would there be a new election date? Never happened before, but it might have to. Will they put a new candidate on the ballot? So there's so many weird things about this election that all of us astrologers are pointing out. But Kamala, with her and Trump, sun and Kamala's ascendant, in the third house are offside this intensity. They're an aversion to the intensity of the Mars-Pluto opposition. And so, by the way, well, we'll get to that. And then for Trump's Leo, his Leo-ness, yes, both Vance and Trump will experience some movement of Mars through the sign of their identity, their Leonine identity, their look at all the hair on Vance with that beard, right? Look at all the hair on top of Trump's head. All the lions want to have a big amount of facial or hair on their head. And so when you see Mars going through Leo, you know that both Vance and Trump will be impacted. And when does that happen? About the 4th of 3rd or 4th of November. Well, let's just advance the chart through to January the 4th. That is not a good sign for either of these two men. I mean, if you didn't even look at anything else, you go, wow, that's going to be tough, because Mars is a malefic, and only Trump, I can say, born with Mars in his first house, might feel like it's no big deal, but everybody else will. So keep that in mind. I think it's the 4th of November that Mars will move into Leo, and then for 2 months be there, and that will be cutting and severing. Before the election, Mars is in Leo, and it will be difficult for both JD Vance and for Trump. They might be very angry, they might have their swords out, they might be in fighting spirits, but it is not a positive transit for either of them. And for Kamala Harris, who has her sun in Libra, over here around 27 degrees of Libra, as well as Nettanyahou, it could very well be that with Mars opposite Pluto and squaring Netanyahu's sun and Kamala Harris's sun, and I've brought this up in a couple of other videos already, that both of those people are in big doo-doo. And it's literally the goddess of agreements and partnerships. I don't know what it is. I mean, an announcement that Kamala is going to get divorced. Well, who cares? An announcement that Tim Walz is bowing out. That'd be really unusual. Announcement that Joe Biden is no longer able to be the president, and Kamala, as a partner to Biden, has to step into power. And then for Netanyahu, God knows what. Really? With Mars opposite Pluto square, all that could be an attempt on his life at this point, probably by an enemy country, because basically the word ASSINATION that is all over, but I still don't want to get a penalty here. There's no doubt about it. After the number of those events that occurred under the hands of the Nation of I towards members of the axis of resistance might retaliate by taking out the head of the serpent's head, right? The serpent's head executions, get rid of that guy. We don't know if they could pull it off, but anytime he's in harm's way, that would be when. All right. I don't take a position on any of this, really. I try not to. I'm just anti-genocide. All wars are about power, control, and greed, assets, money, and resources. They're never about what you think they're about, as you will hopefully all know. So inscrutable that only 18% of the American population in a recent poll thinks that the United States should know. There's like some astronomical story, like only 18% think that the United States funding of the war in the Middle East is okay. Yet the United States Congress continually funds it no matter what the population thinks. And this is where democracy falls apart, and you end up with basically the money is those who have been bought by the lobbyists to vote a certain way, that kind of thing. All right, that was a recent poll, just so you know. American people don't like what's happening with their money, and but no one's stopping them. All right, now we're doing your sign. So listen for sun, career and purpose, moon, kind of like your home and safety and maybe your body. The ascendant is also your body, but it's more like everything about your life, at the steering wheel of your life. Like I'm driving my life along, I'm going to go somewhere, and I look around the circle at my partner, my love partner, my children, my boss. I look down over at my debts. I look over at my financial resources. It's your perspective, the viewfinder of the chart. Okay. So let's get going and do your sign. We'll start, of course, with Aries. Don't forget, my 2025 videos are now for sale until October 31st. I won't ever put this price back out there. It is a steal. You can get, 24 hours of video content for like a fraction of what it will be afterwards. All right. Bye-bye. Bye. On to the Aries, I mean. Hey, let's start with Aries, sun, moon, and rising. I'm one of you. I have my moon and sun here on my Mercury. So I totally get that. We have the energy here in the sky of, Mercury's story through the sign of Scorpio, October 13th to November the 1st, right up here. And as he's moving through the sign of Scorpio, he's in the house what I kind of call chunky money. But what it means, you don't earn it directly. It's inheritance, it's a tax rebate, it's money from an insurance payout, it's money connected to your spouse and your shared resources, including alimony and separation agreements. So that kind of funding, even royalty income and shareholder income from stocks. So those kinds of monies are in your focal point for those weeks of October 13th to November the 1st. Now, Mercury is also really good in this part of your sky in general for accounting and bookkeeping in a sort of forensic way, like really looking under the surface to find out what you need to look at, like it's not really crossing your T's, but it's more like, oh my God, I didn't realize that, if I did this for my taxes, things would work out that way. So Mercury can support you. He's a god of marketing, mercantile, and merchandising, and mortgages and finance in general. And while he is in this house, trining Mars in the fourth house, I would say this whole time he could help you with matters to do with land, property, real estate, and financial matters, including refinancing a mortgage or equity loan, home loan, or maybe something to do with purchasing or selling real estate. That could work in your behalf because he is a part of a beautiful water trine. And there's also with the Neptune retrograde, no illusion or delusion about what it is that you can actually get for your money or what you can sell or get for your money regarding property matters. Now, one thing about the whole story is I'm not going to focus on every little thing. I mean, there is a trine on October 20th to Saturn retrograde. We're going to cover that on the weekly video. What I really want to say is, what about the double kite? Because this is a lot of data, guys. Basically, we're going to say like really the 27th of October through to November 1st. The biggest story going on here is the kite. What is it that wants to take off in two parts of your life? Because every kite has one story, lift off, right? This is soaring to the top of the sky. This is soaring to the top of the sky. I've seen these success kites look a lot like the tip of the kite lifts high and things are going swell. You are going to go super swell in your career and money matters. There's no way you can not do that. Lift off with Pluto, riches, power, authority, dominance in the career and reputation space, and Uranus, surprise on Algol, which is also a well star in the money, earnings, resources, and possessions part of the chart. Now, all kinds of surprises could happen because Mars is in the fourth house of real estate. So surprise, I've got money for a new home. Surprise, I'm moving my home. Surprising, I'm going to possess a new home. Those are all possible because the surprise in a sextile crossbar of Mars is like, yeah, anything can happen here. Now, one of the other ideas I have about the kite for the Pluto part of the story, right, is that because Pluto's in the 10th house of your career, where he has been since 2008 and transforming your career, you're really trying to tie it all together, trying to bring it into some beautiful sweet spot of love. Because what about Mercury and Neptune, right? This kind of vibe at the capstone of the kite. It's like you want to create, say, revenue from far off foreign shores and distant places, Neptune in the 12th house, flowing to Mercury in the 8th house and peaking out at Pluto in the 10th. Mercury rules ideas, and you may have an amazing idea in your mind or in your imagination come to you regarding money matters, or an amazing uncovering of some detail around your finances that can also mean a great lift in your career success. Ultimately, Algol, he's so involved in this, it gets really dicey to tell who's doing what and where the buck stops. But Algol is going to bring you some surprises regarding possessions, resources, and money. There's no two ways about it. And I don't think they're negative, because baked into the tip of this other kite, of course, is the water trine below it. So these two capstones are anchored in a water trine of ease, flow, luck, and looking at things under the surface of the water. They're not always monsters, by the way, even though Mercury's traveling with Ceto, the asteroid for the goddess of the sea monsters. We may find that when we look under the surface of the situation in our finances, we find what we need to thrive. Don't be afraid to do a kind of forensic deep dive investigation energy around you and your money matters. And that includes inheritances as well. Because Mars is moving through the fourth house, you may experience an inheritance. I'm just going to do something on the chart. I'm going to add the moon. I don't ever put the moon in because she's moving so quickly, but at the end of the month, as she's the ruler of that fallen Mars, and we're having a double kite happening in the last 4 days of the month, it may be important. So let's just see what she's up to here. And she's busy in an aversion in the seventh house. So she cannot really, oh no, sorry, I apologize. The moon is in Libra and she is squaring Mars. All right, so that's an important detail. I'll be covering that in my weekly astrology, but for the general gist of it, the ruler of what Mars is up to is in dignity and she's bossing him around. So there's also some elements to do with agreements, contracts, and treaties in your life with significant others that can lend some support to the intensity of a kite, double kite that wants you to change your relationship to your money stories for sure, and your career and reputation soaring to the top of the sky from actions, decisions, and momentum to do with home, property, land, real estate, and things you do in and from your home already. And I do say on the 20th to the 22nd, sure, Mars is flowing to Saturn, and we'll cover that in the weekly. So I'm not going to go there right now. It's just like a lot of data overload today for you guys. So we're talking about the double kite, but also what does it mean when Mercury moves through a sign Taurus? What happens Taurus, sun, moon, and rising every single year when Mercury goes whizzing through your seventh house? Well, one thing is that Mercury is in the house of your significant long-term committed love partner, legal contracts and business partnerships. When he's here, or audience and marketplace, should those words have meaning for you. Mercury is a communicator, but there's messages coming from other people. So it is a phone call, email, text message coming from some significant business or love partnership, because Mercury is always the one revealing what's under the surface. When he's in Scorpio, like a spy or a stealthy intelligence officer, you might find yourself being told something by the business partner, by the legal contractual agreement stories, by your significant other, that is also going to be like a sea monster. We can't get rid of Cetus here. Something like, ooh, under the surface, big reveals. Oh my God, it looks like a big squid that's going to be there lurking under the waters of my marriage, under the waters of my business partnerships. So Mercury has news to deliver you during this time frame. However, he also gets embroiled in a good way in a water trine and 2 kites. Let's go straight to the end of the month. We're talking about the 27th of October through to at least November the 1st, where you're going to see the kites activated. 2 peaking parts to the kite. We have Pluto, aha, woohoo, and we have Uranus at the tip of both kites. I'm going to talk first of all definitely about Uranus, because you guys have been going through it. Ever since 2018, Uranus has been in the house of your sun, moon, and rising Taurus. Over time, there have been 3 conjunctions of Uranus and Mars here. The last one was in 2022 and August. And you keep getting jolted around matters to do with radical change in your life, career, sun, home, Taurus moons, and ascendants. Any area of your life could have been jolted, mostly your identity. So, and against the backdrop of all of that hard work, what I want to start off with is how the Uranus is in the top of a kite. He wants to get lift off for you in some area of your life, lift to the top of the sky. October 27th to November 1st, with Mercury, your partner in business or love, holding the handle of a kite. It may be a change of neighborhood or neighbors because of Mars here. And if you have a rental situation, which is where there's a loss of a rental, some of you may be changing your rental situation and moving to a new place that's a new rental, for example, connected to partners in love and business. Some of you are a commercial rental or business rental. Some of you may also find that because this kite is activating Neptune on another crossbar, you might be getting some kind of auspicious dreamy changes in your life that are in alignment with your long range goals and dreams. But because we see the surprise of Algol, you didn't really see it coming. I mean, well, the surprise of Uranus and Algol, you didn't really see the change coming. The only thing downside is you could lose your head. You're the one with the Algol. I don't mean you're going to actually lose your head, but you could feel like you're going to lose your head by, yelling or screaming at somebody. But I'm not too concerned. Mars, even in his fall, is sextiling you. And so therefore, you have a bit more command of your emotions, even though Mars is out of his element. The other kite that you want to think about the last 5 days of the month kind of thing into November 1st is the kite that points at Pluto. Look at that double kite. What was Pluto going to do up here at the top of the sky with this particular kite? Haha. Pluto is going to bring you some kind of power when it comes to book publishing, academic and university and colleges, things to do with any kind of higher learning, spiritual knowledge, truth and faith, things to do with court and legal matters, and Pluto, top of the sky. Mars, the battle. Mars is a god of lawsuits, by the way, battling against Pluto at the top of the sky. But you got the help you need from Mercury flowing to Pluto and Neptune. Your dreams come true. This is really good for a Taurus, and embroiled in any kind of contractual legal agreements, lawsuits, and legal battles. I think you may prevail. I think you may come out on top, especially in this kind of a sky. You're trying to take aim here, with a solar figure like the sun. So it could be a lawyer, that could be your love or business partner, taking aim with Diana and the other bow and arrow story of Elatus, right? And dodging a bullet. You may dodge a legal bullet. If you're a Taurus trying to get over legal issues, you may dodge a legal bullet and come out on top. And otherwise, you may dodge a bullet in a primary love relationship as well. It's anchoring a crossbar of a kite, and it's also at the handhold of another. So maybe situations going on with your significant other and the relationship quality between the two of you, an arrow passes through and doesn't hit you guys or hit your partner in a way that destabilizes the relationship. That's a possibility. Maybe also your significant other in love or business has a very dramatic and exciting career opportunity that may involve the word visas, passports, foreign shores, and foreign places. Look for news, information, and phone calls and conversations with significant others along those lines, October the 27th to November the 1st. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is Scorpio, where Mercury travels every year, and he's back forming a double kite at the end of the month, which is extraordinary. Having Mercury moving through your sixth house on the regular is usually a time when news or information comes through about your health, maybe lab reports, test results, etc. Maybe a good time for buying a new pet, by the way, or selling a pet if you're a breeder. Mercury in the sixth house. It's really good for renegotiating contracts and agreements to do with rental properties. Mercury in this part of your sky is really good for you being really analytical and busy with information, phone calls, and emails in the work and job environment. And in fact, just for you, I'll mention around October 20 to 22nd, looking for a job, Mercury will trine Saturn in your 10th house of career. But we'll be doing separate weekly videos on that. And finally, what about the idea that Mercury in the sixth house may be inclined, to help you eliminate any debts? He can do that, especially in a sextile to Pluto. So you can pay off a mortgage, a credit card, or massive debt relief can come through the sky while he's on this particular journey this time around through Scorpio. This won't come back again because Pluto won't be in your eighth house again in your lifetime. So massive debt relief, debt repayment opportunities to pay off the debt, not to accumulate it. Okay. I mean, we have karmic debt in the eighth house, but we pay our service to the debt in the sixth house. That helps clarify the meanings. Let's talk about the double kite. Two places in your life are lifting off. Pluto is lifting off to the top of your eighth house of chunky money, and Uranus is also lifting off on fixed star Algol with its pleasant surprises or not in your 12th house. What kinds of things should surprise you? With Algol, this is the house of revenue generated from far off foreign lands and shores. In our modern digital universe, this is for most of you, especially with Uranus being the internet god, very strongly connected to revenue made that way with some positive, surprising jolts. in a flow to Neptune in your house of career, and Mars ambitiously overworking to his detriment in the house of earnings, resources, and possessions. And where it's all anchored is in the work house. Now, you have a lot of hubris here. Maybe be careful. You're overreaching. You might think you can't, you can do it all. Be careful with the hubris energy. But the sun is here, and you're taking aim with Diana and Elatus, who dodged a bullet or dodged an arrow. So you're going to have professional success, I think, but also you have to recognize it, you got the hubris story going. So be careful you don't overestimate your own abilities, what you're capable of. They don't have a kind of arrogant pride that causes a fall. Now, one thing I want to say is if you do YouTube, Instagram Reels, or any videography platform, photography and filmography, that is Neptune, okay, in the 10th house. So those of you like me, a progressed Gemini sun, progressions are not as important as natal placements. I could see this being a really like a blowout YouTube video coming up at the end of October where I have a really viral liftoff or something, just as an example. And my ad revenue from YouTube, that's ad revenue from YouTube, Pluto and my second, 8th house goes ballistic on me, and I have a massive, experience of professional elevation. But what else can Uranus do? He can bust a karmic change that binds the karmic change that bind you. He can bust through addictions and bad habits because Mars is a cutting, severing, and ending in the house of dietary style. I'm on AIP protocol right now. It's amazing. My body has no arthritis in it. Just stopped immediately a week into the autoimmune protocol diet. It's worth it. But I would tell you that Uranus is like, we're just going to cut, sever, and end and break with Mars. Dietary habits and patterns, addictions, and self-undoing through what you eat, smoke, or whatever goes in the face, okay? That can have a nice, dramatic, exciting change of course, a breakthrough coming through the sky at the end of the month. Again, the 27th to November 1st. And because the house of sickness through self-undoing can be the 6th house, you may have a breakthrough because you no longer want to deal with any kind of challenging health problems, sea monsters under the surface. Maybe your blood work sucks and you have to readjust your diet. That's an example. The other part of the top of the sky is Pluto in the 8th house of chunky money. You don't actually make this money through your salary, right? Okay, you're going to get it through an insurance payout, a tax rebate, inheritances, royalty income, ad income at YouTube. So this is another area of elevation where things are lifting off. There's a second kite. Okay, I hope that's visible. That's a hot mess, but there you go. It's being anchored by Mercury in the work, health house, the tenancy and rentals. Mercury rules. He rules your 4th house of home, property, and real estate. And then for a lot of you, this can really look like some financial shift in your life based on a new place to live, especially if it's regarding renting out property, leasing property or being a tenant of a property. Otherwise, a Pluto at the top of the 8th house like that, it can really elevate your long range finances. It doesn't look very inheritancy particularly. I'm not seeing any 4th house placements that indicate that, but there's some kind of financial elevation coming for you. The moon is the ruling planet of what Mars is up to in the possessions and resources. And I have to say, the moon is in the house of money luck, especially regarding winning money. So it is possible there's a big change in your chunky money and earned income. Mars is in his fall. He doesn't want to work this hard. If you are a Gemini, you don't want to work this hard. Saturn at the top of your sky wants you to retire by 2026 and start something new, honestly. And so a lot of you, even if you're young, it's like, oh my God, this work thing's a grind. So you may find that you're going to really look at new financial sources of income so that Mercury in the sign of his fall burning out in your 2nd house is no longer the big story. Is this an overnight story? Of course not. These are big stories. These are happening over time, but the impetus for the changes are happening at the last 4 days of the month. Moving into the sign of Cancer, sun, moon, and rising. So Cancer, this is every single year Mercury trines you from Scorpio. You're used to this. It's like, hey, give me more of that Mercury and Scorpio. I love me some Mercury and Scorpio vibes because Mercury flows back to you. And this is always a feel-good transit. This water trine is yours for the taking. So it's number one, yay you. Mercury as a Cancer rising in your 5th house is the house of your children. Lots of conversations, calls, emails, phone calls, news, things about your children are on the radar for you. If you don't have children, that's okay. Your baby business, your entrepreneurial business, your creative projects on the radar for you. And also romantic love and new romance especially. And so Mercury here could bring you into social conditions in which you can meet somebody new, especially with Venus in the house of dating. The sixth house is what precedes commitment, and it can be dating. So a single Cancer can be in a very powerful dating mode from the October 13th to November 1st transit of Mercury through your fifth house. If you are somebody who is an entrepreneur, when Mercury moves through your fifth house, you can be benefiting by new communication strategies, selling strategies, or commercial activity, or just the way you have new ideas for your entrepreneurial or creative endeavors. And with the sun there, there's a lot of life force energy and focus on those matters. I want you to remember, though, that you also have this Diana arrow and Elatus who missed the arrow, dodged a bullet here. And a child of yours could literally not dodge a bullet. I'm not scaring you, but, have a circumstance that could have harmed them, and they managed to escape okay. They managed to get out of harm's way in some way. During when? Well, anytime during this transit, really. Mercury would be the news god telling you this stuff is happening. One thing about the, time frame around October 20th to 22nd is that trine to Saturn. And that's just going to be a nice little light touch. It could be a child getting accepted into a university or college, a child giving you good news about their academic set stuff, a child with some stories about foreign lands or travel, the many, or good news about a book publishing project that's going to be accepted by a publisher. Good stuff for you, October 20 to 22. But when we move to the double kite, that's what I really want to talk about. So first of all, Mercury is holding the handle of one of the kites. And this is the tip, Uranus. And we're talking about October the 27th through to about November 1st. Thing about this is that you're really wondering to yourself, I think, about what this could be about if it's about your children, because they have surprising news or shocking news or exciting news perhaps to deliver. But it also can be anything to do with your own career ambitions and the gains you make from that career. The gains of the 10th come through the 11th, and so you may have some surprising financial gain coming through this fifth house of creativity and entrepreneurial and self-starter energy. The kite is anchored by Mars in the first house. You are the emotional, hopefully not overwrought, agitated one, as Mars is moving through your emotional Cancer sign, but you've got the fighting spirit and you've got directionality, and you're very decisive at this point. And because this is also a friend or benefactor, ally, or even an elder sibling one above you, the surprise on the wealth star, Algol, could come from another person who wishes to share the wealth or to surprisingly benefit you in some way financially, perhaps. You could also take this as a shocking, surprising revelation regarding something to do with a romantic partner. You thought you were just friends, and they're like, they get down on bended knee and say, I've been crushing on you every time we go to for the book club meetings or something. And next thing you know, you've got a new romantic flair from the friendship quality of your life showing up. What else is the kite? The kite is Pluto and your marriage house. Now, look, you've been dealing with Pluto there since 2008. It's been a journey. You've had a lot of travail in your significant long-term committed love stories, a lot of trauma, drama, a lot of secrets revealed, the things that Pluto does. And you can see that Mars is you. You've got the sword, the sharp tongue. You are ready to take aim, and you can fire at who? Some dominator in your marriage house. It could be a business partner, a troll on YouTube. It could be online, a significant client who's a dominator. But it also can be something to do with your partner, and they're having a Plutonian moment. Some kind of really big thing is going on with your significant business and love partners. And if it is something for them, then it may have something to do with this Neptune story in the ninth house of foreign lands, visas, and foreign shores, academics, but also true wisdom and knowledge. And over here, of course, still Mercury is involved, right? There's Mercury. A big situation to do with a significant long-term partner and romantic or sexual or committed love stories. Mercury is the stealthy sleuth in the house of sex. And it could possibly be some sexual revelations going on with you and a longer-term partner. around matters to do with fidelity or lack of fidelity. That's a possibility. The moon is ruling Mars in the fourth house of the home. Are you ready to let go of a home, surrender a home, release a home? Mars says, I want to move ahead. Some of you may be looking with this Pluto kite at you and your marriage partner wanting to sell a home or a conflict in the marriage, but it lifts you up ultimately regarding matters to do with domicile, home, and private life. Finally, the South Node is flowing to the house of children, but there could be some real tough love that you're applying to a child, whether they're adult or not. And that tough love with, the moon on the South Node could be asking children to leave the home or getting a child out of the home for some reason. Those are ways it could look. But I don't know, guys. I've got to say, with Pluto in your seventh house, you're transforming a long-term relationship, but also the way you engage in long-term committed love relationships and business partnerships is also transforming. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Can somebody say glass of wine? All right, Leo, what's going on? Every year, Mercury moves through your fourth house. Here it's happening for you October 13th to November 1st. Basically, Mercury here is good for buying, selling real estate. And for you in particular, October 13th to November 1st, that's negotiations, contracts, and deals, marketing and selling, merchandising, things to do with home property and real estate. But October the 20th to 22nd is ideal because we have a Uranus, we have a Saturn in your eighth house of mortgages, banks, and financing to do with home property and real estate. So either refinancing real estate or buying or selling property looks good on Leos around this time. Alrighty, we're going to talk about the double kite. The double kite is fun. I like double kites. Watch this, okay? I'll keep annotating to keep myself happy. We have Pluto moving through the sixth house of rentals. We have Mercury, the negotiator, in the fourth house of home property and real estate. We have Mars anchoring that kite here. Don't forget, every kite has a water trine involved, so it's got a base of flow and ease. And there is the kite. What is this kite for? The kite is probably telling me, that's the worst kite I've drawn of all my kites yet, that you have a profound opportunity for a new home if it involves leasing a property as a tenant or a landlord leasing out a property. This looks really good. November 26th, 7th through to November 1st. October 26th, 7th through to November 1st. Around that time, kites are flying through your sky. Mercury here can also be situations with people you live with domestically and situations going on to do with conversations with those people and with whom you cohabitate, especially male figures or father figures who live in the home with you, and things to do with debt. Does somebody owe somebody money? Does somebody in your domestic life owe you money, or do you owe them some service or money? And some deep energies flowing in that part of your sky at the end of this month. This, kite is also anchored to Neptune, and Neptune is like, oh, the crossbar. Oh, I'm flowing here to Pluto, and I'm flowing here, says Neptune, to Mercury. Wow, some kind of real revelations or deeper understanding regarding inheritances. For this can be Neptune, Saturn in the eighth, and Mercury, Sun in the fourth, matters to do with inheritances from a father figure in the family of origin, especially an elder with Saturn, like a grandparent, and information or news being revealed to you, especially involving hospitals and people who are elder in hospitals, flowing to a kite at the top of the sky, October 27th to November the 1st. The other kite moving through your sky at this time is, of course, the kite that's focused on the top of your sky, career success, ambition, and reputation, surprises, Algol, Uranus, unexpectedly, that are also connected to Neptune and the chunky money, a severance package from work, a sign-on bonus, Mars, backroom deals and negotiations, finally down to Mercury. working from home, email and phone calling from home, messaging from home. This can look like the boss gets fired and then you get promoted. You didn't even know you were in line to be promoted. This could look like more money coming through the workplace. They want to give you a sign-on bonus. They want to give you a chunk of the corporate stock to hold. They want money connected to work, home, and backroom deals and negotiations look really writ large upon your sky. I certainly would say, ever since July 15th, Mars-Uranus conjunction in the 10th house of career and reputation, you're waiting for the other shoe to land or drop. What is it about that you're going to have surprises here that you didn't necessarily see coming? And with the moon as the ruler and squaring what Mars is up to here, some of what Mars is doing at the crossbar of your career success, Kite, is doing the chatter of the third house. Maybe things are going on really beautiful and intense, but like busy regarding people around you in your neighborhood, your workplace, your local community, even to do with phone calls, emails, and messages that really want to elevate you into the top of the sky. I think at the end of the day, it's a career surprise of some sort that lifts off and takes off. And, Mercury at the bottom of the sky, he's in the home, he's where you live. And yes, you may have had some hubris and pride, maybe tried to sell a house and thought it was worth more than it was. And now you have to eat some humble pie and sell it for what it's worth. But with Mercury at the bottom of the chart, all your home-based ideas and communications can lead to surprising success in your career that involves also what you do in the back deal negotiating category. Mars in the 12th house is what kinds of negotiations go on behind the scenes, maybe not even with your involvement, that favors some career breakthrough, right? Career breakthrough energy, work breakthrough energy. And don't forget, Pluto is in the work house. He's on the other kite here. So while I talked about rentals and stuff, I can also talk about work matters. I could say that you're very likely to have, on the dark side, an elder pet could pass here. This is elder pet passing, right? That triangle. But on the upside, it could be some really good news regarding your finances connected to work matters. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. So Virgo, you have this movement of Mercury all the time, every year through Scorpio. You don't mind it. It sextiles or flows to your Virgo earthness and from the watery Scorpio. October 13th to November the 1st is this year's storyline. Well, he's here. He's really good at social life. I mean, Mercury and Venus are both aspects of socializing, more like comedic, having fun, playing games of chance, sometimes Mercury in the third house of local friends, neighborhoods, and neighborhood parties and things you would do socially. So it can be a yearly social uplift for you every time you see Mercury through this part of your chart. It really is, time for you to get out there and do things. But if you're online, then this is your selling, marketing, messaging Mercury in the house of the online world. And you'll be very focused on your messages and your selling and your communicating in that RELU during this transit. Also, communications with siblings, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, and neighbors, as well as the sibling one younger than you, get highlighted during this transit, October 13th. To November the 1st. With Mercury here at the bottom of the sky, he's going to end up making a couple of kites mid-month, though. Around the 20th, he's going to the 22nd, flow to Saturn. Good news in regards to your significant other and you, and maybe a very lovely opportunity for travel about October 20 to 22 in a significant long-term partnership. That aside, let's go to the two kites. One kite is anchored by Uranus and the top of the sky. I mean, like one kite's flying high, and Uranus is all about surprises on Algol, intense, in the 9th house of education, the 9th house of foreign lands and visas and travel, in the 9th house of publications, book publishing, in the 9th house of academia. I said that, in the 9th house of luck, Lakshmi, wealth and prosperity, and spiritual meaning of your life, right? So Uranus is here and he forms a kite, and I don't mind a kite any old time. It gives you some success and it lifts onto the sky. It does on the backbone of Mercury. Mercury holds that kite in his hand. Yes, he is with the god of hubris, where you overestimate your abilities, or somebody does. But nonetheless, we're really talking about your liftoff in the 9th house. I like this if you are a Virgo with plans to travel a lot or go off on a trip or want to be traveling. Something wants to lift high here. This is October 27th through to about November the 1st. Legal matters in courts and judges belong to the ninth house, which can be quite auspicious for you because of a kite anchored in, this part. And of course, where, Neptune and Saturn sit would be a significant other, like a lawyer in a court matter, or mediation negotiations can go well. But this is also the house of significant long-term love partners. Neptune, retrograde, you're seeing the relationship squarely, no illusion, no delusion. The fog is pulled back. You now know what each of you knows, what you can get. There's clear seeing here. And there's Saturnian, we want to go the distance by going back in the past to go forward again. Although we do know that love partners from the past may suddenly come out of the woodwork during a Saturn retrograde in the 7th, but that's been ongoing for months and completes in mid-November. I would think that the Mars part of the chart, Mars wants you to kind of think about how you can lift up higher in your spiritual life, in your pursuit of truth and wisdom, in your travel academic settings, by matters connected to allies, friends, and benefactors. These are the friends who champion you, right? The best Mars can do is be a protective champion for you. An elder sibling can play the same role here, but also one above you. But really, Mars is like, let me cheer you on in a sextile to your Virgo identity, and let me cheer you on to reach the top of a ninth house accomplishment. Graduating from university successfully with honors, going off on a foreign adventure or a pilgrimage that soothes your soul, moving on up into the height of the sky with your book publishing, podcasting, and other publications, screenplay writing, ideas and opportunities, lifting up and up and up. Because Mercury is in the house of writing, right? The 3rd house, online communications, short distance travel, skills-based learning, and writing. These things elevate to greater success in the public eye. October 27th to November 1st. Now, when we move to the other kite in the sky, we want to look at Pluto. Now, Pluto here is taking another angle on the story with this kite. And Pluto wants you to power up greater transformation and riches through creativity and entrepreneurial success, sexuality, and romance. If you are in a love relationship, Neptune and Pluto in that beautiful sextile, it's a nice one with Mercury for now communicating to your partner your secret fantasies, your hidden agendas in love and romance, or deepening the intimacy in a sexual and romantic love story through conversation, revelation, and talking or emailing or phone calling each other. But all said and done, Pluto is, if you're an entrepreneur, going to try to bring you more lift there through new allies, benefactors, or greater career gains that lift you up in your entrepreneurial endeavors. Now, one thing I'd say is Pluto is transformation, and it is in the house of children. A Virgo with children, there could be some profound positive transformation going on in the life of one of your children. And you may discover this story of their empowerment, especially if they're dealing with addictions, by the way, of their empowerment through a phone call, email, or text message from a child, probably adult, between the 27th of October and, of course, November the 1st. May be about other people, not just about you. Luck comes through the 9th house. Pluto's in the house of lottery wins. Yes, and Mercury rules games of chance. Go to the bingo hall, go to the casino in the local neighborhood, buy a local lottery store ticket. There may be a possibility for a little uplift here for some of you. There's no doubt about it. Finally, the moon is the ruler of what Mars is up to at the crossbar of one kite and the handhold of another. While the moon is in a resource house, you really are looking at a lot of what Mars is trying to accomplish in these kites is going to increase your financial resourcefulness at the very best he can do. He's going to increase the financial goodness in your life as he applies himself to supporting a kite that has Pluto in your 5th house, top of one kite, and Uranus in the 9th. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. We have the concept here every year of a Mercury transit through your house of money, earnings, and resources. Every time this happens, you have to focus there. And this has been true now. October 13th will be to November 1st. Ultimately, you could end up buying, selling something, marketing and selling, putting things up for sale that you possess, or buying something. I see people buy cars, sell cars, buy furniture, sell furniture. You can buy or sell anything when Mercury's in your 2nd house. It's also going to enhance your power of speech, communication, negotiations as well. Mercury in the second house can also, in this time frame, as he gets involved in a double kite, do a couple of things. One, certainly he could help you with positive developments with your work and with rental properties around the 20th to the 22nd. With Pluto in your fourth house, some of you may be able to rent a new home if you're a renter. Otherwise, you're having some really good mid-October 20 to 22nd, third week of October, positive developments, money and work stories. But as we move towards the end of the month, we have two separate kites to draw your attention to. Kite number one is pointing at Uranus in the chunky money house. Mercury across the way. There is your kite. What can you do with that kind of kite? You know, the end of the month into early November. Well, one thing you can do with that kite is you can lift off into inheritances, shared money with your partner, accumulating greater resources in tax rebates, investment structures, stocks. But with Pluto here, inheritances. So a lot of you may experience some kind of inheritance story coming through the sky, particularly involving Saturn, an elder. So an elder, like a grandparent or an elder, a very elder parent, and inheritance money may be breaking through your sky, 27th of October to November 1st. And then also, you know, Mercury is going to say something like, I want my ideas to take off financially, especially when they involve your career. So new ideas for making money through your career, elevating up to the top of the sky. You got a lot of pressure here between your home and your home and your work. And there may be some breaking through during this month, especially the end of the month, regarding what you want to do in your work. Some of you might quit your job, honestly, or be fired, but it's okay. The kites say severance packages or sign-on bonuses. Something better is coming if you have to leave a workspace. The other kite, right? I mean, this kite here is pointing at Pluto in the fourth house. That's that tension in your home life. And well, that is a hard to see kite, guys. I'm so sorry. This kite here, right? So something going on in the work environment or the home and work environment, and something going on in the earnings and money story. Oh my God, my kites are getting worse. Is it time for a chocolate break, a wine break, or a martini break? Okay. Yeah, welcome to my life. So, an opportunity to buy or rent or sell a home. An opportunity to dramatically change something regarding your home life, maybe even move to another country for work with the way Mars is positioned in his fall in the house of home and homeland. An exciting, dramatic opportunity revolving transformation of home. Certainly you can rent a home or buy a home because we have rental energies here and we have purchase opportunities here. Big changes though want to emerge as a kite of success to do with things to do with your work, your career, your home, your job, and your money. And that's the best I can do. The moon is ruling what Mars is up to, and you're making the decisions with Mars's help. And the decisions you're making through the lunar energy of your energy field are about things to do with career and changes you want to make in career and reputation, but also involving home, land, property, rental, purchase, buy, and real estate. And all of those things look like they're true. And different people have different stories. We're not all one cookie cutter. This is general bell curve astrology. Bell curve meaning central tendencies. There's outliers to every story. And maybe your chart is wrong. Doesn't take a lot for a birth time to give you a wrong delineation because no one wrote it down properly. All right, moving forward. Okay, this is Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. First of all, Mercury moving through the Scorpio waters of your sky again every year. This is October 13th to November 1st, and the zone is you. You are all about Mercury. You have ideas. You are communicating, and you are spilling your secrets if you have them. You are also full of ideas. You're willing to look below the surface. You're investigating things. Sure, sometimes you fall from pride and hubris, but you have the ability to eyeball those sea monsters in your own psyche. This is what it is about this time. I will also note that Mercury transiting here does flow to Saturn in the house of romantic love and children. And this could indicate some real stabilization of your relationship with children and romantic love during October 20 to 22. The big story are the two separate kites formed by this water trine. Now you'll feel both kites activating to lift off around the 26th, 7th of October to November the 1st. This kite is important to you because this is your business partner or your marriage partner, and this is a shock or surprise. Or, hello, honey, I'm pregnant. I have never thought about Saturn, about being about pregnancy, unless your partner is of a later age in childbearing, right? Having children later in life, or you are of a later age for having children. It's all relative. My Scorpio rising sun and his wife do want to have a baby. They just got married. So maybe, and he's like, in his mid 30s. So you may have, oh my God, surprise, honey, we are pregnant. And that's a possibility. But also what could happen is that you may find with this particular kite anchoring Mars, there's a surprising positive news about travel, visas, foreign lands, academics, courts, and legal matters. Surprise, we don't mind it. So Algol brings a surprise. Could the surprise in a legal matter be good? Yeah, this is negotiations, mediations, and final legal contracts. And this is Mars doing lawsuit activity up there. So if you're in a kind of financial battle of any kind, you could have a surprisingly positive result the end of this month into early November. The other kite that you really want to watch for, of course, and this is your children. If you already have your kids and you're not waiting to make one, something going on with a child and a breakthrough and some information and news coming through the sky. You might even say, surprise, your child got accepted at Harvard and you're shocked. So Mars is in its fall. It looked like it wasn't going to work. Suddenly something is taking off. The other point of the kite, of course, is Pluto. And Pluto is power, riches, and wealth in the third house, as well as transformation and crisis and conflict. But Pluto's at the top of a liftoff. So what is Pluto suggesting here? Pluto is flowing to Neptune in the house of children, romance, and Pluto is also flowing to Mars. You're the communicator, the ideator here. You are Mercury. It's not happening to you, but through you. You may have some important information or news regarding long distance foreign shore lands and travel or educational opportunities that may involve romantic partners or connections to your own children. If you have any entrepreneurial instincts or creative entrepreneurial business endeavors, or you're an artist, you could have a shocking viral hit for a legacy piece of work you created. You could have something going on contractually regarding your art or your business endeavors. It's going to support you into international acclaim or success, or publications or book publishing success. Those are ninth house matters. Pluto in the third house, friends, neighbors, allies, sibling one younger than you. Now, Pluto here can be something you've been dealing with since 2008, troubles in that area. But Pluto's trying to be helpful here. He's direct and he's flowing to that Saturn. So you could get some kind of major riches coming off of this. If you work online as an artist or an entrepreneur, something big could break through for you. In the seventh house of audience and marketplace with Uranus, and in the Pluto riches and wealth in the online world of the third house. Book publishing is up here, and Mars is holding a handle of a book publishing, podcasting, publishing area. Again, looks like some professional breakthroughs for those of you involved in academic careers, publishing, podcasting careers, or things to do with human resources careers. I mean, guides and mentorship careers, etc. A lot of you eventually may experience this Jupiter inheritance transit as well, although it's not necessarily the big thing at the end of the month of October. It's pending. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is Pluto will move into the seventh house mid-November, activating Jupiter. And that's a story we'll get into then. It looks like some of you may receive wealth from your family of origin. If you have a possibility, obviously not everybody will. Some of us are old enough, we have no upline to give us money from. All right, I've got 3 more to go. So let's get rolling, or 4 more to go. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Mercury goes through Scorpio every year. Here he goes through Scorpio yet again. He will be here October 13th to November the 1st. He will talk about backroom deals and negotiations. He will talk about things you do as communicating and thinking projects behind the scenes quietly in your own life. He will talk about revenue generated from far off foreign shores and far off seas. That's the kind of things he does in the 12th. Pay attention to your dreams. This is a time of a transit where your dreams have more power. The messages in your dreams are important at night, the nighttime dreams, nocturnal. Now, one thing I'd say is that there is a bit of a flow to the Saturn in about the 20th of October. I like that. It's particularly auspicious if you want to make some changes regarding your home life that are going to be foundational, but coming from some deep-rooted contemplation or insights you get in your own home time, downtime, alone time. And Mercury likes to travel, so you may be traveling away from your home to far foreign ashrams or something like that in the middle, third week of October. One thing I'd say here is that you do have two kites, and we have to focus on this on the 27th of October to the 1st of November. This is the story that we need to look at, a double kite. Yay. One kite it's Uranus at the tip of a kite in the house of pets. And with Saturn here, some stories about pets and Neptune could come through. You may suddenly shockingly get a new pet. Saturn, however, hardships as well. So maybe a pet will have some troubles that surprise you, but we still see the water trine underneath it all flowing to the capstone of the kite. I kind of like it for things like breakthroughs in your home life connected to mortgages, real estate, or shared resources with a partner. This is ideal for people sharing money and separating assets in a marital separation. Works flowing in your way. You're getting a shocking, surprising elimination of debt and indebtedness, and the money that you now can acquire or the surprising resources could help you pay off some debts. You may get debt money repayments from an inheritance, in this case, likely from an elder from your family system. That's a possibility too. This kite also reminds me that Mars is going to bat for you in the 8th house as well of shared resources. Yes, he's in his fall. No one likes to fight over who gets the sofa, but he is still a warrior fiercely defending your shared resources territory. And because he flows down to Saturn in your 4th house and Uranus in the 6th, you get the sofa, you get the dog, you get the thing you wanted in the breakup, basically, if there's a breakup happening. And come on, Jupiter retrograde in your 7th house of marriage. Some of you are going through some wobbly marital stories if you're already with someone. One thing I'd say, lastly, about this is I've seen Uranus in the 6th house look like some breakthrough in health. And so if you have any long-term struggling health issues that feel particularly karmatic, there may be a major breakthrough because you've uncovered or revealed something that was hidden from view, particularly regarding the home. Maybe there was mold in the walls or asbestos in the ceiling. So there can be some health breakthroughs to do with home and revelations and seeing something differently. If you want to buy or sell a home, Mars could contribute to your resources to help you eliminate yourself from debt by selling a home. That could happen as well, like debt elimination by taking a profit off the sale of a home. And then we move into the next, and also renting out a home. Sudden opportunity to rent a beautiful home, a stable home, a sudden opportunity to find the perfect renter for your home, these kinds of things as well, depending on what your status of landlord leasee is in this lifetime. All right, and then the other kite is, of course, Pluto. Pluto dominates the tip of a kite in your 2nd house of resources. Can't be too shabby. You've been through a lot of financial up and down, Sagittarius, with Pluto here, a lot of power and transformation around money, wealth, and resources. Now, here we go. What could happen is you want to lift off in the financial earnings, resources, and possessions. And if you want to do that lift off, there's also Mars holding the kite handhold. That's mortgages, free finances, banks and loans, stock investments. Pluto, more wealth or riches through your earnings and resources and possessions, flowing to Neptune in retrograde. Do you want to go back to an old home? Do you want to change your mind about a home you live in? Are you lonely here, guys? Saturn. And in your house of home, are you feeling alone even amongst those you live with? And here we have Mercury. So this kite kind of wants me to tell you it's okay to change your home, and it's okay to reverse course on a home story. It's okay to sell a home. It's okay to move your home to a foreign land or move your home back from a foreign land. It's okay to make some major changes that are transformative and empowering in the way you change your food style, especially with Mercury in the house of self-undoing. Some dramatic food style changes could occur that really surprise you and also stabilize you and make you maybe less melancholic and lonely in the home if you are feeling that way with Saturn there. Major changes in the home if you have an elder parent or aging parent living with you. Pluto also means money from the situation. So again, some of you may have situations where a blessed ending of an aged parent under your care or something like that, and you get some financial gain from that. The moon rules Mars from the house of pennies from heaven. That's your 11th house. Allies and benefactors and legal contracts, Juno. Yeah, some major like pennies from heaven could come through legal negotiations and contracts revolving themes of inheritances or spousal separation of assets. I mean, Juno and the moon could suggest, a financial legal advice from an ally or benefactor that can benefit you around money matters. October 27th to November the 1st. Ultimately, you want to succeed in your resources and money, and you want to succeed in your work and your health and your pets and your tenancy agreements. And you probably will. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising, Mercury traveling every, year in Scorpio, right? This is October 13th to November 1st. He's a little bit all about you being very lucky. This is a house of good spirit. We don't mind Mercury up here. A lot of social time with friends, joining groups, going to clubs, doing social events with people, having more fun, being more social. However, this is a house of friends, allies, benefactors, and a sibling, one older than you. Those people are more on your radar for sure. Mercury wants you to basically experience some blessings about the 20th of October regarding opportunities to do with friends and travel, or friends and learning, or friends and social things in the neighborhood. But as we move to the two kites, that's where it gets interesting. Kite 1, Mercury is looking at a big surprise with Uranus on Algol in your 5th house of money luck. Technically, you could win some money. Why not? It's not the most obvious, but if you do, you win it in a connection to a partner, and you may win money here. And it's a wealth star, and this is a significant other, and you are looking at this alliance. Ka-ching, maybe you win money. When pennies from heaven, windfalls come off the house of good spirit. You may also have an opportunity that surprises you for an entrepreneurial consulting or job opportunity coming to somebody from your past, Saturn retrograde, and connected to travel. And that looks like a possibility for some Capricorns during this time. And Jupiter retrograde is already saying colleagues, coworkers, and people you've known from your work environments in the past are coming back from the woodwork and showing up now. So again, past career opportunities may be emergent during the October 27th to November 1st timeframe. You might also note in the sky that you're having the energetics of Saturn in a sibling house. So sibling, one younger and one older, are big news stories if you have those siblings in your life coming through. And the success energy, the kite is lifting off in the 5th house. A sudden shocking breakthrough may happen regarding a child and news. News a child is pregnant. Mercury rules the house of grandchildren. News a child has got a breakthrough in their own life, adult child or child. Some shocking surprises regarding your romantic and love life that are positive, and there's some breakthroughs there as well in your sex and romance life. And unexpected opportunities for leisure travel with your romantic partner that involve traveling with larger groups of belonging clubs or friends or group travel. Maybe that's something for some of you, October 27th to November the 1st. The second kite, though, is opening up you, Pluto, to power into deeper and deeper and deeper transformations around your own authentic authority, power, transformation. You are now the butterfly. You've been doing this Pluto transit since 2008. Mars is opposing from the house of your business partners and your marriage partners. That's a tension angle. Looks like watch out for that tension at the end of this month of October. But the good news is the kite smooths the waters of the sky and says the tension between you and a business partner or significant other or audience or client, marketplace, 7th house person, the capstone of Pluto is your transformation is inside of you. You are the one with the inner, deep, profound, catalytic rebirth of self. Yeah, you're also having to wonder, what does Saturn say here? Saturn flows to the significant relationships house. And there may be some things going on here to do with some compromise or some change regarding travel plans, or neighbor and neighborhood situations changing, or some circumstances changing with a younger sibling. And then with Mercury forming the other crossbar of the Pluto tip of the kite, there's again communications with an older sibling. So sibling communications figure strongly in a lot of the Capricorn sky in the last week of October. And it's Neptune really who's holding the story of the kite, right here. So could you be now disabused of your illusions, delusions, and misunderstandings of situations involving neighbors, neighborhood, travel, online endeavors, sibling relationship matters? And if you've been going through any struggles with shared finances with a significant other, with Mars, in the just about to go into Leo, there can be some significant redressing of that in a positive way. Readdressing. I still think some of you with your Algol, Uranus in the fifth house, Capricorns can definitely have a surprise financial gain connected to the idea of winning money. With the moon up here, just could be the bingo hall, ruling Mars. The moon is in your reputation and career with Juno, the goddess of marriage, and Mars is in the house of significant marriage type relationships. So it is like possible that what Mars is doing is changing your significant long-term love relationship status. But because he's at the anchor of a kite, and it's a surprising change, it works on your behalf at the end of the day, and it brings good fortune and good spirit to you nonetheless. So, sometimes something can happen where our significant other quits the relationship on us, particularly for Capricorn rising, less so than sun or moon. And that kind of jolt may not actually be the worst thing that happened. It might be, is it good or is it bad? Deeply good for you, even though you may not get the gist of it right away. Don't get worried if you're madly in love with your partner. Please, this is general bell curve astrology. Finally, last two signs, and I am Aquarius rising, sun and moon. Aquarius rising. Let's talk about this sun and moon as well. We have this every year, Scorpio transit of Mercury in the 10th house of career, reputation, and visible actions in the world. That's the top of the sky. He'll be here October 13th and November 1st. It lends itself to more MC time, microphone time, more communications, negotiations, and contractual strategies and deal making regarding career and reputation matters. Just sign a new work contract, sign a new terms of service, negotiate a new job. That's good, and there's a trine to Saturn, October 20 to 22, ideal for a lot of you to get a new job if you're looking, or to secure new kinds of solid financial terms and gains from the career you're already engaged in. But there are two kites that we need to look at: the double your money, double your fun. Let's start off with Uranus. Uranus is in the bottom of your sky, in your home, property, real estate. You're still trying to figure out what Mars did here on July 15th when he co-joined with Uranus in this part of your sky. I can't get rid of that. That's Uranus. And this is Mercury. So something like a tension between home and career ambition. Sun is up here, career ambition, communications, marketing, merchandising, selling, home life, shock, surprise, Mars, rental properties, pets, debts, and Neptune, clear-eyed, defogged understanding of your money, earnings, matters, resources, and possessions. You may have a shocking, surprising opportunity for a new possession called a new home, a new car, a new job and car and home and work. Rental opportunities and pet opportunities belong to the sixth house. And with Uranus in the fourth house of home, unexpected, shocking new pet opportunity, unexpected shocking new rental property agreements. Jupiter is giving you good fortune in the house of good fortune. And so this is also potentially winning money when Jupiter is in your fifth house. We're talking October 27th to November the 1st. Ultimately, an Algol well-starred Mars conjunction back in July is trying to make something happen, and this kite looks like a good excuse to make it happen. Mercury is the announcements in the 10th house of the visible sky. For gosh sakes, hey everybody, I'm moving to a new house. I won the lottery. Hey everybody, I'm renting a new place. Hey everybody, look at my new kitty cat that shockingly showed up on my doorstep and I couldn't say no. But Neptune is definitely in the money house and you're clear-eyed and you have Saturn there, retrograde in it as well. Things you've done in the past can lead to new financial opportunities, especially if you're engaged in Neptunian career paths like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube videography platforms. And there can be a really big jolt of financial gain around those energies, especially if you do the recording studio like me from home. That could work really fabulously for us. Now, the other kite in the sky is this one. This is Pluto in our 12th house of foreign lands shores, revenue generated from those places, addictions and self-undoing, backroom deals and negotiations, and things we like to do that are profoundly transformative in our home, including spiritual liberation. Mars is across the way. That's at Mars opposition, GAC. We'll be talking about the T-square on the weekly video. Today, we're just focusing on Mercury. So what happens here is Mars is holding the bottom of a kite from the 6th house of work and health matters. Now, Mars here can cause injury and inflammation in the body, especially regarding water issues, slipping in the water, drinking toxic sludge, I don't know. Be really careful, of course, for especially with Neptune here, for ingesting something and getting food poisoning during this Mars transit. But it can be the 27th of October to November 1st. There's this breakthrough energy. As Pluto says, I'm going to break through, I don't know, addiction, self-undoing regarding dietary style, or financial patterns and habits that are weighing you down. And there can be some support from the career space. Now, Mercury up there could be you announcing, I no longer smoke weed, and let me tell you why. Or Mercury up there could be saying something like a big announcement, a big publicity energy regarding something going on in your career that is also coming from things you've been doing quietly and profoundly, secretively, backroom, working on behind the scenes of your 12th house, really busting out in a bit of a hoopla of career success on the 27th of October to November 1st. However, you might want to note that, anytime I see Mars and Uranus here, there could be definitely some shocking surprises regarding pets. And with Mercury as the ruler of your 8th house, debts. I don't think you're going to have a negative event with a pet because it's a sextile, but, still surprises regarding domestic animals may be a big story for you guys in the last week of October. The kite you're getting the last lesson, right, of Pluto in your 12th house. So where have you become spiritually awakened? Where have you plowed through the dark underbelly of your own addictions and self-sabotage? Where are you done breaking those karmic chains that bind you forever? 12th house matters. Breakthrough energy can be had for you, plowing through this sky, coming through this sky, October 27th to November the 1st. And we're going to do Pisces. I always say it's going to be a short video and I'm never right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, please, and hit my notification bell. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. What happens in the sky is Mercury moves to Scorpio every year. You know the dates, right? I'm repeating them, October 13th to November the 1st. When he does it this year, well, it's different dates every year, but this is those dates this year. And he's in your 9th house, and that's like really good for you. It flows to you. It's called a trine relationship, so you don't mind his travels here. I don't know how that happens. I can't get rid of it. Oh, well, that's hubris. It's going to drive me nuts up there. Let me just fix that. All right, back to the details and the devil's in them. Right. Okay, so you're going to find when Mercury's here, it's often like negotiations regarding court and legal matters, information and news regarding academic schools, essays, professors, colleges, and campuses, things to do with your 3rd marriage, it's the 9th house, things to do with your relationship to spirituality, God, truth, and wisdom. And finally, information and news that may come vis-a-vis father figures, especially with the sun up there. And that your spouse could be a father figure if they are like fatherly to you, so it's the people that seem like an authority to you. And so with this Mercury up here and the sun, of course, we're going to see the end of the month. We have a couple of hot spots. They're positive, around the 20th to 22nd of October. I mean, Mercury will flow to Saturn, the sage-like wisdom that you're now holding on to and deepening as the retrograde Saturn is you. I don't know why that just happened. Sorry. This is making me not happy. There we go. I am sharing, right? No, I'm not sharing. I can't share it anymore. It's gone. It's gone. Sorry, Pisces. I apologize. It's like the whole chart that I just had doesn't want to be shared anymore. Why? No, that's not what I want to share. Okay, I'm going to try one more time. I've got the chart up on my screen and I'm seeing it. It should be able to be shared with you. There we go. Sorry. You're trying to make your dreams come real. Make my visions and goals and dreams, Saturn, real. That's what you're doing right now. Right? And you're doing that for quite a while, because we need Neptune to get out of there. So by 2026, you've been figuring out how to make dreams come real. Keep that in mind. Now, what I wanted to point your attention to are the two kites. Kite number one, we'll start with Uranus for you guys. Shocking surprises with Algol, the wealth star, or off with her heads, is happening in the sky the 27th of October through to November the 1st. And there may be surprises vis-a-vis unexpected travel changes, educational matters, publications and book publishing, international stories, visas, passports, travel or legal affairs, or things to do with younger sibling, older sibling matters. One younger and two older than you. And there's a lot of surprise along the axis of change here, but you also have a kite. And therefore, it all becomes quite yay-you. What does it say? Well, first of all, Mars, right? And this is like a lovely energy if you want to succeed in social media, online world, things to do with writing and publishing, things to do with book publishing especially. But Mars is over here. And he's in his fall, but he's still there in your house of your children, in the house of romance, in the house of creative projects, including writing, the house of entrepreneurial businesses, and Neptune's here. And this kite says, a dreamy dream come true possibility around a creative project's taking off in a writing publishing format, a dreamy change regarding one of your children, perhaps connected to things to do with educational opportunities, a child moving far away from you, and it's exciting because they're traveling and this is the best thing for them. And shocking, surprising changes regarding your neighbors and neighborhood situations, and viral hits online if that's something you do. That is like a kite that doth benefit you greatly. I mean, Uranus is flowing to you in a sextile. You like this energy. It's surprising you, but you do not mind it. You might be able to track this to some things that were happening in the middle of July, and now they're happening again in a bigger, more fulfilling way. And opportunities to travel to far off foreign shores that surprise you, especially if the travel involves opportunities to travel with a sibling, one older or one younger than you, or even domestic travel. Just travel and sibling stories are activated October 27th to November the 1st. Also, we have another kite in the sky. That's the Pluto kite. Pluto in the 11th house of good spirit, where good things happen. And he's holding a sextile to Mercury, and he's holding a Neptune sextile, and this is a new kite capstoning off this blue triangle. So, of course, Mars-Pluto oppositions are difficult, and that's what's the anchoring the whole darn thing. And Mars is like, what kind of blowout are you going to have with a romantic sexual love partner with a child? And yet at the same time, whatever this is, and then when the dust does settle, it flows to you, right? You are appreciating it. You're okay with it. You feel like it's resolving something. You're stabilizing some situation that's volatile regarding a child, a lover, a romantic partner, a creative project, entrepreneurial business endeavors. At the same time, Pluto in this house can bring you great financial riches if it comes into the matters of career and entrepreneurship, riches and financial gain from a sibling older than you by the one up. Some surprising and shocking events may also transpire, of course, because Pluto is talking to good old Uranus, that indicate that you could have some big surprises regarding travel opportunities as well with a sibling of some sort. But at the end of the day, I mean, Mercury's up here in the 9th house. That's the foreign lands, the visas, the travel. and the educational stories primarily with father figures. 5 and 9 and 1 are Dharma houses. There could be a big breakthrough and a profound change in the way you generate revenue and income from your career as you move into a profoundly more meaningful path that could involve some kind of line of work that allows for greater authentic power and riches in the career, because the 11th house is the gains of the 10th. You know, the moon is the ruler of Mars, and Mars is literally in the house of your children and romantic partners and creative and entrepreneurial endeavors. And the moon is in the house of chunky money. It's sort of like maybe there's some major changes in your relationship to a child that's going to be much more balanced for the money, the resources, and the financial matters that you have, including those monies that you've invested in retirement funds and stuff. And when I say children, adult children, sure, but also children, right? They're screaming at you about something. There's this catalytic energy, the kids being super aggressive, super oppositionally defiant if you have little ones and stuff. And you're coming up against that October 27th to November 1st. But then we see this kind of smoothing it out. And maybe it's like you get a guide, a mentor, an educational advisor in here to advise what's going on with this kid. Oh my God, they've got ADD, ADHD. Let's fix it with this, medicine or something, ADHD. So keep in mind that really young kids can be resolving problems with you as the parent as a result of this. Otherwise, adult children and some battles could go on, especially regarding money and financial matters and a child. Okay. All right. Thanks for listening. I mean, it's, 2 kites at once. It's a lot. It took me forever to delineate this. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Don't forget to get my 2025 All Signs videos and the bundle. It's out. 300 people have grabbed it already, and doors will close at the end of November. If you want the bundle, it's amazing. It's 24 hours of video content, 2 hours on each sign, and you can share with friends and family and do your sun, moon, and rising, and use it for lots of people. I mean, I don't care if you buy it, you can share it with mom, dad, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins. I don't care. It's yours. You bought it. You do what you want with it. Thank you very much. I'll see you on the next video on Monday. This video comes out on Sunday, recorded Thursday, October the 10th for my Patreon community who gets it early access, ad-free. Love you guys. Thanks for supporting the channel. I'm on my way to 100,000 subs. I'm hoping to get there. It's not the fastest subscribing month so far, the month of October. So give me a hand and double check that you haven't been unsubscribed. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. See you soon.